Hello everyone, welcome to the Logos Project. This is Dom, your host. In this episode, Sam and I talk about Fast and Furious and freedom. Break it open.
Let's talk about real estate law.
Honestly, I would totally be down.
So Title 10 says...
Oh yeah, I don't know about
I'm just kidding.
that.
You know what they say about real estate.
What's a movie you've seen recently, or maybe a song or something?
Ooh. I saw Fast and Furious 9. Or, I'm sorry, Fast 9. Dude, I cried 3 times.
Yeah.
That's not funny. I don't know anything that's funny.
So... I want you to share what you think about the movie, and then I'll share what I think about the movie. And I'll be kind. I'll be kind.
So I know the disconnect, right?
Yeah,
Because I discussed this with a couple of people at work as well.
No, and don't frame your opinion about the movie in reaction to what you think I might say.
No, not at all.
Okay, go ahead then. Because we had an interaction after the movie, and you were like annoyed at me for what I said. I said like
I feel like I was joking if I was annoyed with you.
Oh no, you weren't seriously annoyed, you know.
Oh, okay,
but it's like you were like looking at me like what?
No, it's like I totally get it. The
Yeah.
issue is that I'm like these are characters and like people that I love who I've grown up with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
watching the first Fast and Furious movie. I was like probably like 10.
Dang.
Yeah, and it was like I watched it with my mom and my best friend who recently got arrested for meth. Actually, yeah. Nice kid. We went our separate ways after middle school. Yeah, good times. Anyway, long story short is I think I'm like way more emotionally invested. So I'm like
in the characters, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like so when somebody like we'll say comes back from life or comes back to life. I mean, comes
Yeah.
back from life,
He becomes
which means they died.
what was the name of the character who came back? Or should we spoiler?
No, we shouldn't.
Okay,
spoil it.
okay, never mind.
Everybody knows.
He went from the gray to the white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was trying to use his name. That was the joke.
Well played.
You know, Betty White used to be Betty Gray until she got upgraded.
I see what you did there.
Go ahead.
That poor woman. She's killing it. I want to be her when I grow up. Anyway,
nowadays you can, but go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why I think I enjoy it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, they're doing too much, and it's kind of ridiculous sometimes. But like,
Yeah.
who needs logic when you have family? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think
I get it though. Like,
Yeah.
we were just coming out of nowhere, right? So
I felt stupid watching it, but there was parts that I genuinely enjoyed. Like it was a ride, you know, literally.
nice. You gotta tighten your seatbelt.
It's not one of those movies that I would watch again or that I would buy on DVD.
I'd watch it again right now instead of sleeping.
Yeah.
Like-
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that effective on me. And I've seen all of them, you know, and
You seen them all?
yeah, I've seen them all. But I'm actually like this. Don't take this wrong. Well, actually, you probably will. But I feel bad for having seen all of them. I feel like it's wasted
dumb.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
But
I would say is like I'd probably be a much bigger fan of Tolkien if I had seen Lord of the Rings when I was a kid.
yeah. Or if the
when
books
the graphics
had,
were like really good.
if
you
the
know?
if the books had been read to you.
That's part of it too.
as a child,
my parents
yeah.
don't read.
Yeah, that's too bad. Mine didn't
or
either.
listen to
It was my
podcasts.
grandma. My parents didn't read
I'm
either.
just kidding.
Actually, that's not true. My dad used to tell us stories at night.
That's super cool.
He'd make them up too. He wrote a little booklet of it.
A word?
Yeah, I'd have to ask him if he still has that. Yeah.
Is it Garrett and the Green Knight?
It was actually really cool. He made up this character called, I hope I get this right. It's been so long. I think it was Father Gregory. So he was a priest, a missionary priest, who went to, was it Gregory? Yeah. Yeah, Père Grégoire. That was his name. Yeah, if my dad ever listens to this, it'll give him a smile. But yeah, Father Gregory was a missionary priest who would evangelize the natives. I think this was in Canada. He always had these different areas. I think it was probably Southern America, actually. And he had these crazy stories that he would come up with where, the priest got shot, but because he had a miraculous medal on, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's a medal that the Blessed Virgin gave to Saint Margaret Mary in Paris. And basically he was wearing that medal and the bullet hit the medal and it didn't kill him. I remember that story really vividly.
And he's just making this up.
He's just making all this
off the
up.
top of the dome.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever.
And he had some really cool stories.
It doesn't sound super imaginative as far as like if I were reading that in a book, I'd probably be really annoyed.
But if you're a kid, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I mean, he made it up.
Yeah.
Right? Right there. Trying to make you goons go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. But Fast 9, though. So.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next one. Fast 10, your seatbelts. Have I used that joke yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Yeah.
No, I'm souped. But like, it's definitely an element of nostalgia, right? So
no,
like,
I totally get that.
They like alluded to Brian, who's clearly like
I remember choking up when it was it Fast 7? Which one was it?
Fast.
Anyway, the one where he's driving down the road. It was not 5. We had this conversation. We had this conversation. It was 2017.
You're right. It was 7.
Yeah.
You're right. Because I remember thinking I said it was 7, and I'm being corrected at 5, but it was the opposite way. You're right.
Okay.
I said it was 5, and I was corrected at 7.
Yeah.
You're right. It was Fast 7.
Yeah.
And then you got Wiz Khalifa in the background. When you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that because obviously it added so much, pathos, so much drama to.
I'll choke up if I think about it too hard.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not something that has affected me, culturally, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of my background. I didn't have that kind of cultural background.
Yeah. I mean, I still love Pokemon. If I were to start playing for the first time like today, it would be the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up with it. So.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I'm trying to think of things that I've grown up with that are kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's several.
Name like 10.
You can name like 10.
Yeah. The entire country of France.
Oh, what? You grew up with the country of France?
You.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Tolkien, Star Wars.
Well, those are still like good to this day.
Because you grew up with them.
No, I don't think so. You have to experience Tolkien the right way, and you have to actually experience him.
To read them to me.
I'll phone her up. Hey, Jesus, is she up there?
You guys pray to dead people all the time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Well, now it's awkward.
No, it's not. They're more alive. Actually, that's another thing. Is I read something so incredible from John Paul II in his Theology of the Body Audiences, where he talks about the communion of the saints, and the way he explains it just blew me away. We'll have to talk about it sometime.
You know, there's an app that you can plug your like audio files and video files into, and basically they just cut out like all the ums and pauses and stuff.
You serious?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Dude, you need me on your team.
But we don't want all the ums cut out.
No. Hey, they just chop it up. I don't really know.
Okay.
Yeah. It flows pretty nice, actually.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I would like you on my team.
Yeah.
Next year maybe?
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
You do
You're
get
saying
it.
I'm going to delay.
Yeah, my phone is literally 90% of the pictures on my picture roll. What do you call it?
Camera roll?
Camera roll. 90% of them are like
Tootsie roll?
Tolkien memes. Not even joking.
See, you say you want to cut out the pauses.
No, that was a good pause.
You like that pause?
Yeah. It was awkward. Yeah.
All right, I think I'm going to go to bed.
This is so much fun, though. I'm trying to because it's only, the only time I can get you on this podcast is right now. So, trying to. To the audience, we apologize for the nonsense on the part of Sam. So, real talk though. You're leaving tomorrow, correct? In the evening? Afternoon?
I was thinking about just dipping out of work early. Do that thing where you like put some sweatpants on over your camis.
Yeah.
So people can't tell.
Yeah.
When you pump gas, and then just drive.
Yeah. Drive. So you're going to be gone until when? So when are you going to be back? Is a better question.
I don't got to be at work until Wednesday morning. So.
Okay, so Tuesday evening.
Maybe. I honestly have no idea. Well, I'm going to go hang out with my sister. I didn't really pre-plan any of this with her. So I imagine I'll hang out for the 4th, probably come back on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Devin and I are going to turn up.
Cocaine.
Country dancing for you.
Country dancing with you. Dancing with you.
We'll have to I need to get some better music for this podcast.
I agree.
What, do you even know what music I've been using?
Yes.
You listen to the Mary episodes?
Some of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Those ones are a little discombobulated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't listen to the rest of them.
Oh my gosh.
I meant to. I didn't go back.
I don't blame you. I need to get them. I feel like taking them down. So here's the thing. I feel like taking them down, but I'm not going to.
Don't.
Yeah, I want to pump out more content and make it better.
Yeah.
Because if I keep pulling it down and then making, there's no end to that. You just got to make content and put it out there, and it gets better as time goes on. And then when you get really good and you get an audience, then they go back like, oh man, Dom sounded like shit back then.
Dude, so there's this guy I listen to. His name is Gary V, and he's just basically a famous entrepreneur. He does a lot of like really cool stuff. And that's what he said. He's like, dude, I love Drake, the hip hop artist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sometimes I forget how I
You're fine. You're fine. Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
But hold that thought though. I was literally hanging out at some friend's house
with Drake
when I first moved here to the United States, and this guy goes, "Dom, do you want a Coke? You know what Coke is?" And I looked at him like,
"Coke is international, baby. Coke is international."
I was like, "Do you want water? Do you know what water is?" All right, go ahead. What were you saying though about Drake? I said, hold that thought. You forgot.
I'm more impressed about Coke, honestly. Cocaine.
So did you seriously forget what you were
No,
saying?
I remember.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. I don't know why I said it like that. Okay, so so anyway, he's like, yeah, I would kill to go back and like see, if Drake had vlogs or whatever for like his rise to stardom. Granted, he was also you probably don't know this, but he was like on the show called Degrassi, like as a teenager. So he was always kind of in the spotlight. He was like not a child actor.
Are you assuming that we're going to be in the spotlight one day?
Yes.
Really?
Anyway, yeah.
What?
Who knows who Matt Fradd is?
Matt Fradd's very charismatic, and he...
Well, no, the point I'm making is that, like, people know who he is, but, like, really not that... I mean, if he...
Oh, I see what you mean. In a like, niche community.
He's not even, like, B level. He's, like, C level. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
But, like, in your...
I have to cut that out.
I said B...
Just kidding.
No, I mean, as far as, like...
communities.
Actors, like, you don't listen to hip-hop or rap, but you know who Drake is.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's, like, within the Catholic community...
Yeah.
A lot, probably over 50% of those people know who Matt Fradd is.
That's right.
I would argue. But
there's
probably a lot of Catholics who've never heard of the guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they don't... There's a lot of Catholics who don't invest their time in trying to...
Try to understand their faith better. Yeah.
A lot of people's interpretation is that it's the church's job to... impart you with all this stuff, so...
Well, that's what Matt is doing, though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I say church, I mean, like, they go to Mass once a week. And
you're saying, like, the pulpit, huh?
Yeah.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not just... I don't want to just complain. I want to make a difference. So, but my complaint is sermons. Catholic sermons are not very good. Now, I want to be careful because I know it's a priest has a tough job, and I'm just this Mr. No, they do. No,
sure.
they really do. Yeah, but so now I'm just this Mr. Nobody up here in North Carolina. But
the man in the arena.
But like, if there's something like there's certain Catholic centers that are making resources available for priests to preach better, and I mean, I'd like to one day be able to contribute to that because it's not
that would
good
be
enough.
like a big piece of seminary.
Well, it was.
It's not anymore, or what?
Yeah, well, that gets us into the history of what happened after the Second Vatican Council. There's kind of a breakdown of Catholic education, especially in the seminaries. But it's doing a lot better. It's rising back up. So, yeah, that's how I would put it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We just got to convince more Protestant people to be Catholic. That's how you fix it, dude. You need a good mix of both.
Honestly, that's what's been happening. That's why there's been a lot of...
to study history is to cease to be Protestant.
It is. I told you that like 5 times. Cardinal Newman
It never
said
stuck,
that.
and I just came up with that on my own. So
right. Did you actually?
Does anybody ever really come up with anything on their own, Dom?
All right.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Nice. C.S. Lewis.
And my giant is, what are you, like 5'2"?
That was really good.
You're taller than that. You gotta be like 5'6".
I'm 5'5".
I was close.
Yeah, if I stretch.
Just gotta,
It's the same height as Tom Cruise. And I also have a crooked nose like he
It's
does.
a weird flex.
Yeah.
Weird flex. I used to have a crooked nose.
Did you have braces or something? How do you
What?
how did you fix the crooked nose?
No, so
You got punched.
I could only breathe. Well, yeah, that's what happened. I used to do a little boxing.
Wait,
anyway,
you told me this. Good.
yeah, so I can only breathe out of one nostril. And
Okay.
long story short, I told the United States military,
Mm-hmm.
unspecified branch. I don't think it matters.
Space Force.
But anyway, oh man, I actually looked into converting to Space Force. They're only taking people from the Air Force.
Oh man,
I know. I want to be
course.
like, I'm a space shuttle
Of
door
course
gunner.
they are.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, hey, I can only breathe out of one nostril. Like, I'm trying to get this fixed. They're like, yeah, man, no problem. We do it all the time. I was like, word. I was like, is it gonna be straight when you're done? They're like, yeah. I was like, word. So I am, 16% more attractive now.
15.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll work.
Oh man. No, honestly, I think like the audience likes this kind of banter. It can't just be purely theological, you know. If it gets deep into the weeds, that's good. We want that, but we want to like kind of talk about something different. So here's something I'm going to propose to you. Every episode we do, we have to have because I've seen this in other podcasts where they start saying we're going to talk about the theme of the podcast, then we're going to sample a food and then talk about our experience with that food and then talk about music and then conclude with this, right? So it's random examples there, but the point being,
Oh, so it's like a show more so, right? You have
Yeah.
a flow of instead
'Cause
of it being topic dependent.
I think that's a good idea. It can still be topic dependent, but you have to have that variety because we're not going to keep the attention of the listeners if it's merely theological musings, very dry, with someone listening saying, explain that to me more, and that's it. You see what I'm saying? That there's a place for that, but we have to like say, well, okay, let's talk about a movie this week.
All right, explain that to me more.
So what I'm saying is this.
You didn't even catch.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't even catch that.
All right, we're good.
That's
We're
good.
All right, reset. Composure. You know what I often think is people who can
Yeah.
hear my voice but can't see what I look like. I wonder what they imagine I look like.
You know, that's actually funny you say that because when I started listening to Pints with Aquinas, he wasn't on YouTube yet. So I listened to him for I think it was a year and a half. No, it was less than that. It was about a year, and I had no idea what he looked like. And one day, I decided to support him on Patreon. And then I saw a video that he sent to his patrons. And I was like, that's Matt Frad? It was a shock.
If you want somebody political, I can do some presidents.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, obviously, let's do the big man.
Wait, which one? Oh, Trump.
Yes.
So you-
China. Go ahead.
What about King W?
That's good.
No, that's funny. You live in the United States. He was probably the president when you moved here, huh?
How do you do? Bush. That's right. Obama got
What's his
elected.
shirt?
Obama got elected in 2008, right?
So Bush was actually president when I moved here as well.
Where did you grow up? You're like my mom was womb.
Yeah. It was Bush Senior was president when I was born. You didn't even know.
No, I moved here in 2007, and then Obama got elected in 2008.
Yep. I would have voted for Obama if I was old enough.
Are you serious?
Excited. Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
I'm dead serious.
You would have voted for Obama?
I was in.
Oh, at
junior
the
year.
time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was junior year in high school.
Oh, okay.
I had not even been, I didn't even become Christian at that point. I just started going to church, and I had like an Obama t-shirt, and the t-shirt was dope.
Yeah.
I wish I still had that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, Obama clearly just
Could you? Sorry.
trashed our
Economy.
country. I feel like,
Yeah.
so it's like, I disagree with him on like pretty much everything,
Mhm.
knowing what I know now. But I'd totally hang out with the guy. Like if we had a different,
Yeah.
I mean, I like Trump. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like
Yeah.
he's divisive. Like you need that sometimes, and
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately he's the product of the fact that
I just realized
somebody needed to stand up, be a man.
I think the 2016 election of Trump was a reaction to an increasing amount of what we now call wokeism, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like somebody needed to literally take a stand and be like, are you serious right now? Like, this is bullcrap. Like,
Yeah.
we need to behead militantly in the opposite direction of what is happening right now.
And the worst part is that it's gotten even worse after he got deposed. After he wasn't president
But
anymore.
like every other like news article is literally still talking about Trump.
Yeah.
He's living in these people's brains, bro, rent free.
Yeah. Back in tune. Action. You totally messed that up.
I hit the.
Try it again and say action.
Action.
What's up? Oh no! So let's talk a little bit more about politics, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So even during the whole general election, it was always like we're not even voting between Trump and Biden. We're voting between Trump and Kamala. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. But who's Ron Paul? I keep hearing good things about him.
Yeah, no, Rand Paul.
Is that what his name is? Okay.
Yeah, he's a senator.
Yeah, I'm so out of touch with like current public figures, you might say, but I'm like gung-ho about principles and the philosophy of politics, which I'm just getting into. I'm a noob, but I'm trying to read as much as I can. And I knew that the way Shapiro understands the economy and the way he understands policy seems to me it's like a mix between conservative capitalism and libertarian principles. Is kind of the vibe I get from Shapiro. So
yeah. And so a lot of people who consider themselves conservative, right, would
consider themselves
probably
libertarian.
Like lean almost exactly in line with Shapiro.
Gotcha.
Especially because if they're doing research, they're probably listening to Shapiro.
Okay.
And I would argue that he's pretty hard to disagree with, right? So the idea, it's all logic, and it's all this libertarian idea of people should be able to do whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody else, right?
Yeah, I
even down to, and you reject that, I would argue.
Yeah, I totally reject that.
Yeah, so I'm curious why.
Well, I want to hear more about you, but sure, I'll take a stab at that. I think it's a misunderstanding of the nature of freedom. So, purely historically speaking, freedom never meant that in the classical era, okay?
But, not to, like, I guess cut off your point, but, like, it does kind of mean that now, right?
It definitely has come to mean that now, yes.
Okay, I guess so as long as we're in agreement on that, go ahead and...
Yeah, and so I reject the idea that freedom is essentially... the ability is the freedom of indifference. So surveys, Pink Hair's Dominican who talks about this. The idea that freedom is the ability to choose without being coerced, in the sense where how do I put this? Like, you can choose to enslave yourself if you want to. You can like to a drug or something. You can choose to define your own meaning. You can choose to, and this is where like freedom of religion comes in. Like,
yeah.
What does that even mean? Freedom of religion. Does it mean the freedom to determine the reality of the world for yourself, or does it instead mean the freedom of not being infringed upon when it comes to your conscience? You see what I'm saying? So if someone has a specific belief, right, I would say he's not free to have that belief if he's wrong, but he's free in the sense where I am not allowed to infringe upon his conscience and like say, converter, I'll cut your head off. You see, the difference here is like...
That's actually very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, the difference is where it comes from, right? The freedom, there's a freedom from the effect of me being unjust towards you just because you have an opinion that is incorrect. And then there's the freedom to have incorrect opinions. I'd say no one's free to have incorrect opinions because it's not freedom, right? But it doesn't mean...
You use the word opinion, unfortunately.
And that's the thing, is unfortunately I'm going to have to use terms that they break down because of the modern conceptions of those terms, like freedom, opinion, blah, blah, blah. So I would say that, and this gets into, Plato talks about this in the Republic, that the good, right, which is the foundation of all of metaphysical truth, the good is something that, it's basically, it's reasonability in a certain sense. It's what the pre-Socratics called the logos, right? Some of the pre-Socratics. So you can't really defend reason with reason. Think about it. Because if you're defending reason with reason, it's kind of like self self-defeating in a certain sense, because someone could say, well, I don't buy into reason. If you can try to prove me reason with reason, well, I don't buy into reason, so it doesn't work. So
It's the same with the idea of objective truth.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably where you're taking
So
that.
what I'm taking that is that Plato said that the good, you can't defend it directly, only indirectly. And then he goes into how you can defend it indirectly. But the point being is that it's not something that's imposed either. It's something that reveals itself, and that's where he harps against the sophists during the time of Plato. The truth is never something that is to be bashed on the head of others, right? But in a certain sense, you don't have to defend it. It's something that, but you also don't have the freedom to reject it in a certain sense, because that's literally, when you reject the truth, you enslave yourself to falsity, and ultimately it doesn't free you, because true freedom has to be that true, right? So the point being is that freedom always meant the ability to move closer to the truth. And if someone decides not to do that, there's an aspect in which there's a kind of like freedom to reject the truth, but it's using the word freedom in two different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think libertarian ideas stem from the idea that people are actually free to determine truth for themselves. So it turns the good into not something actual, but something potential that the belief of the individual actualizes. I'll repeat that because it's important. You ready?
Go.
In classical thought, the good and the truth was actual, and you could decide to be free by adhering to it, or through your free will be enslaved and therefore not free by rejecting it. But in classical liberalism, in the modern understanding of freedom, which libertarians adhere to, the good and the truth is something potential that becomes actual if you believe in it. Therefore, that's so if someone has one opinion and someone has another opinion and the opinions are different, what do? Okay, you're free to have your own opinion. What that does is it makes the good it makes it so it's supposed to be actual, but it makes it into something potential. So it's true for you and true for you. Why? Because it's not actually true. It's only true when you believe it. So it's a potential.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that does is it completely changes the concept of freedom. So that was like deep dive into philosophy. But the point being is that I'm not advocating for some kind of like let's force these people into accepting the truth, right? I am saying that we are predicated on a society where the truth is completely potential.
Yeah, but you're not talking about politics, right? So
I am, because politics is...
I get how that's the root of it, but you're talking more so on like a culture or like a philosophical basis from which we should be building the West.
Yeah. So yes and no. You're absolutely right, but I would say that we can hold office and promote and promulgate laws that are in line with the truth and the good, and we should. So that's policy.
How about that?
Yeah.
But it's like, at some point, how do you do that without everybody being on board that this is the objective truth, right?
Well, that's the thing. As you change the culture and as you change policies, then the culture itself will be one like the classical culture, which is an understanding of the truth that is actual, not potential. And then, but you also, like in the Middle Ages or even in ancient Greece, right? You had people like the sophists for the Greeks, and you had like Jewish people during the Middle Ages who were not Christian, right? And so, not to say that there weren't abuses, because abuse of power is part of sin, right? But there was this understanding that, look, we're not going to make you a Christian, but you live in a Christian society, right? That's what freedom of religion really means. It's freedom of conscience. It doesn't mean that they're making a choice that will make them more free. And I think it might sound trivial or like semantic, but it's not, because if you understand the world that way and it becomes cultural and policy based, then you have a better society that's actually directed towards the real true and good. And so because we're human and we're post-fall, there's going to be people who have those kind of inclinations to falsity. And, we want to try and help them to get to the truth as much as possible through, evangelization, culture, friendship, and even policy. Like, we respect the fact that you can go to your Seder meal. You can worship the God of Israel the way you worship the God of Israel, which is the same God as ours. But, there's differences there because of Jesus. But you live in a Christian society, and we're directed towards the actual true good. That's the way it is. So I'm saying let's go back to a Christian society. Let's make America Christian again.
I actually really like that. I think that
Yeah. And
I want to I want to say that it like falls pretty much in line with the intent of the founding fathers as well, right?
yeah, the original intent of the fathers is to have a Christian nation. You see what I'm saying? So if you have a Christian nation, that rules out the not religious freedom, because they believe in religious freedom, but it rules out things like abortion. It rules out things like redefining marriage. It rules out all these things. But why do these things happen? Because of this distortion, this understanding of freedom, right? And so I think words do matter. Semantics does matter because it shapes how you see the world. We want to see the real world, not an ideological copy of it that falls short. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I totally buy that. And I think even if you look at kind of like the core tenet pretty much of our democracy being freedom of speech, right? That's pretty much predicated on the idea that there is an objective truth.
Yes,
right? So you see how either side of the aisle like would deal with specific situations.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this earlier. I saw like the Reddit, it's called R Atheist or Atheism or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like this person was basically taking books from like the library, or it was like this free book program or something, like taking Christian books out of circulation. And she thought she was doing something correct. It's like, dude, if you're worried about people reading a book that you disagree with and then changing their mind or being led to some truth that is different from your truth, then clearly you need to worry about your truth, not the fact that other people are hearing information that is contrary to what you happen to believe, right? So if you're convinced that your opinion is the truth, then you should be willing to A, stand by that, B, allow other people to hear other opinions and come to that same conclusion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So, like, I would argue that there are no Christians saying, no educated Christians.
Yeah.
You got to always put that disclaimer now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
No educated Christians saying, yeah, you should never do your own research. You should never read a science book.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But however, we do see people from the other side of the aisle saying, oh, you shouldn't waste your time with that stuff. Like, maybe you should read a fantasy that people don't believe is real, which is something I literally just read like a couple hours ago.
About the Bible, you mean?
Yeah, they're talking
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's become militant, right? It's become monopolizing. It's a power move, right?
Yeah.
And it comes from Nietzsche, really. And so what I would say is that freedom of speech is actually really tricky, and I don't fully, I'm still thinking it through. But freedom of speech doesn't mean, right, for example, if you take it to its extreme, then you can start teaching children about, hey, maybe you should be a boy, not a girl, you know? Or maybe we should have drag dances for the children. You know.
Here's where I'm at. So to define that in the way that I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm honestly putting this through the lens of what we just talked about a second ago.
Yeah, go ahead.
Freedom of speech is the freedom to voice your opinions and open them up to criticism or correction, more or less. Right.
Gotcha.
So the idea is like you're bouncing that off of.
Okay, you're talking about dialogue.
I am. That's exactly
and
what
then
I'm
I'm totally with you.
Yeah. So the difference would be, right, if you shut down specific opinions, then like you're going to, especially with the internet the way it is today, you're going to push those opinions into these echo chambers.
Yeah.
Where they're basically able to reinforce themselves based on nothing. It's completely circular. So you see that on Twitter like all the time.
I know Plato talks about this in Book 7 of the Republic, and I haven't finished the book.
Book 7, verse 4.
I'm reading.
This is Audible.
Listen, I'm reading D.C. Schindler's commentary on Book 7 of the Republic.
Oh, okay.
And I'm only halfway through. So I like the beginning of this conversation. Excuse me. Was me talking about freedom and all that kind of stuff and the defense of the good, but I haven't finished the chapter, so maybe if I finish the chapter I can be able to verbalize that, you know. And anyway, so that was a good conversation.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, me too.
Night, bud.
Night.